It is now.
Okay, welcome everyone. Some of us are here in spirit, okay, even if the body is in a different place. So my presentation for the conference is actually a game, and when I started this out, I wasn't entirely sure exactly what it was going to be, which is why my proposal was a little bit all over the place. But I knew from last semester that I'd started working with this idea of world building, but specifically a world building that is like conscious of the kinds of worlds that we already live in, or the kinds of worlds that we inhabit. Obviously a lot of theories, specifically decolonial feminist, black feminist theories about the future of our planet and the future of not only our planet but our culture as well. Within what people are starting to call third culture kids as well. So people who have not only just more than one culture, but almost like a very mixed cultural heritage that they have to again rediscover, find again. And that's when I came to this idea that I wanted to make a map of things. And originally the map was going to be of quoted sayings and everything from my research, but it ended up being this because I thought it would be a little bit more interesting to kind of work a little bit more intuitively with this. So the game, and here I define game as a process of play, a kind of protest to pedagogy as playing, is part of a larger project of world building within spaces of creative information dissemination. So informed by cultural confusions, complexities, and kind of a refusal of race reductions, and within the specific colonial matrix. To be honest, I started off in identity politics. It's great. I think it gives a lot of grounding and foundational work for discovering who you are. But there are some of us who identity politics becomes a little bit, or at least in its early iterations, it was a little bit restrictive as well. It made you feel as if, this is the color of your skin, therefore your culture is only this. And I was trying to, I didn't really have a way to articulate this discomfort that I felt with a criticality of myself, but also this idea of who I should be when this narrative of who I should be, specifically Indian South African, is already quite corrupted by, at least by a lot of narratives that didn't really speak from that positionality. Recently now I've had the opportunity to find those archives, but it wasn't always the case. And when I already started off on this journey, it wasn't what it was now. This is also a project that comes from a collective love of storytelling and a community kind of building and communicative kind of praxis. So the game will be played, the game was played and added throughout the course of the conference. And this today is the activation of that. So the way of structuring the game is that the first step is that you choose what kind of citizen class within this place, which I call the dissemination, you want to be a part of. So just a little bit more about the dissemination. The official language is nonsense. This is something that I've been thinking about for quite a while. So I did learn how to speak my native, so I was actually telling Malibombe about how I learned how to speak Gujarati. My family is from, far back from Gujarat. But because the teachers were really abusive, I didn't really latch onto the language, and every time I tried to learn it again is a mental block that I kind of get. At the end of the day, I've grappled with it a lot. English is my language. There's very little I can do about it now, except for use English in the ways that I want to, and that's where the concept of nonsense that I'm using comes from. There's obviously a lot more theoretical basis, or people that have explored this a lot further as well. But that's where I'm coming from when I say nonsense. Official currency is care. You can only play the game if you care. This is the only thing of value. This is the base currency of this dissemination. Information is only kind of like shared through care as well. I think it's a praxis of care to kind of share information as well. Location, land of nope, this is like from Legacy Russell's glitch feminism piece. I thought it was really interesting when she used E. Jane's manifesto as like this idea of like I am a black artist, but I'm not a black artist, like not by the terms that you would generally associate with that, or that's not all that I am as well. I like this idea of like multiplicity and the right to range, which is something that Legacy Russell talks about a lot. Okay, popular species, hominurans. This is also, I'm still doing a lot more research into this idea of like the human species being defined as like a narrative species as well, but I encountered the term first in Sylvia Winter's work. There's apparently like a long history that I'll have to do a master's or some shit to figure out. But for now, I'm going to keep that as how Sylvia Winter kind of described it, as like one of the base like ontologies of like, or one of the base defining features of human being the fact that we are a storytelling species, and that is perhaps one of the things that makes us human. Okay, and then back again to how you play the game. So you can either be a general disseminator, so this citizen group has yet to kind of pick a group that they belong to. Most of you now in the room are disseminators. The disseminators in the game can either make a city maps for a place like within the dissemination, so they can add to the map people that draw on the walls were disseminators. They can add to the map, they can choose to name something on the map. They can map their own journey through the conference and like contribute a text piece. At the end of the day, everyone will be contributing something to this, which I will be kind of culminating into my final research paper, provided that everyone obviously consents to it. Then we have the ruminators. So this citizen group is comprised mostly of poets, mystics, and philosophers. They kind of help to story parts of the map, contribute poems, riddles, any form they wish to it. So, for instance, a ruminative would be like, so this is a poem about 3 circles that touched and one that did not, and the lines that watched this all happening, and this part of the map is called watching where things went wrong. For instance, that would be, I guess, an example. You could write a poem, you could contribute anything to that end. Then we have the alternatives. So the alternatives and the imaginatives, I'm going to talk about them quite together because, so the first group, the alternatives, kind of handles the political, social, and theoretical, like critical reasoning. They're like, I guess, politicians, but a little bit more activist-based. In this game, they can kind of like unpack the structure and formal qualities of the dissemination. They can make motions to change how the game is played. So if somebody here chooses to be an alternative, they can be like, I know the ruminatives can write poems, but I am now declaring that the ruminatives can only write poems that are 5 lines long. That's what an alternative can do. And then imaginative, the citizen group can kind of be like a little bit of a wild card. But they are in charge of like practical elements of the game. They can disrupt anything that they want. They kind of speak to elements like directly within the game. They work closely with the alternatives, so like the same way that an alternative can go and say, okay, ruminatives can only have 5 lines. The imaginatives can go like, yeah, but how do you define lines, you know? And, you know, they can define lines as one line is right across that wall, like, you know, as well. So the imaginatives and the alternatives, kind of like a feuding classes, but like fun feuding. This is not a game that you can win, by the way. This is just the kind of game that you play. It's a little bit nonsensical, but that is the kind of language that we're going with here. One of the last classes is the eliminative. So this citizen class kind of participates in meditative tasks. So they kind of erase parts of the maps or synthesize like elements of the map as well. So say I'm an eliminative and I want to change something on the map. So I want to change the official language and I want to make it no sense, okay? And that's like something that an eliminator can choose to do, like erase things on the map. Another thing, if you don't want to like work directly on the map, you can also write a statement of your refusals. So you can write like a declaration to the country, you can protest anything that the dissemination is doing, you can write a very moving manifesto to the dissemination. You can be like, yes, last year it can be entirely fictional, like there's like really the sky's the limit with this game. But I am going to culminate it into something that kind of reads as a story. So all of your respective contributions will eventually add to that. So I see a few people during the exhibition stage already marked a place on the map. So for instance, over there has marked himself like towards the top because he's tall. I guess mark himself towards the top. And he is a combinator, which is the class I didn't get a chance to tell you about. So that's the class where you can combine like elements. So you can be a disseminative and a normative. Or if you want to work alone, you can be an alternative and an imaginative instead of working with somebody who is an imaginative. So you can be an alternative and you can be like, okay, I changed one of the rules today to be that ruminatives can only write 5 lines, but I also changed the game that the 5 lines have to be 3 words short as well, because you're now a combinative class of imaginative and alternative. So you have to think of an alternative plan and an imaginative plan. It does seem a little bit complex. It's a little bit based on like an RPG, so a role-playing game, things like Dungeons and Dragons and all of the I don't know, like video games are also based on like a similar concept, and we're doing this in a very short amount of time. So I'm willing to accept whatever qualifications you have. But first things first, does anyone want to come and mark themselves on the map? The mark that you use for yourself on the map is either a square for the disseminated, a circle for the ruminative, a triangle for the alternative, X for the eliminated, and an upside down triangle for the imaginative. So you can come, mark yourself, mark something on the map. Otherwise, I'm going to be handing out papers, and once you've picked your class, you can kind of, make a contribution, a text-based contribution to the thing. If you want to make something sonic, like if your contribution to the dissemination is that you stomp twice, that's your contribution to the map, that's also good. Literally any contributions, and we'll be taking this and kind of storing them together. Also, you guys can work in groups if you guys want to make like a group kind of contribution. You guys have now decided in the dissemination that you are the citizens republic of ruminatives, and you guys will ruminate together, and you guys will make a collective poem. You can, do anything that you like. Now I just need to get the papers, but I forgot what is this the minutes? Also, if your contribution is confusion, that is also okay. Confusion is a very valid point, especially in a game that is does the contract, or is it building shot. So even though it looks
Suns fall out of the sky, but they don't kill you.
it's a nice pink shot. Okay, sweet. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then, does your character belong anywhere?
Your handwriting. What is that? So your handwriting.
No, I'm just saying, if anybody sees this falling,
Community. Lolo suggested that everyone has their own sign. Yeah.
Everyone has a sign that follows.
are you guys breaking up already?
And you never have shadow.
Okay. Wait, can you say that again?
Everyone's getting their own sign.
Everyone has their own sign.
Sun. It's
And you never have shadow.
sun. Yeah.
I'd also suggested that